Now to Edinburgh and Berlin for this month's edition of Giant Tanks Potluck.
In a world where meeting like-minded goofballs for heady avant noise and free gob-slobber sessions is punishable by instantly transmissible death, experimental musicians are unable to indulge in the promiscuous audio adventures and collaboration that they've become accustomed to, and so a dearth of new weird sounds leaves pub basement patrons across the globe thirsting for their favourite real-out sonic tipples. The dreamers behind the Giant Tank label seek to end the freakdom's famine by uniting disparate lunks through the medium of unconscious overdubs and drunken prattle. If the ongoing pandemic has caused you to miss the incestuous and interchangeable in-the-flesh interscene improvisations that the no audience underground frequently throws up, then perhaps you're ready for Grant and Faraz.
Yeah.
This is a site that I've wanted to see for over a year. So
Grant, can I tell you something? I've really felt a massive pressure because from the minute that I met Ali, he's like, ever since like Grant left, there's been this gaping hole in my life, and you're coming to fill it, right? You're coming to fill it. So, so do gigs and do lots of them, and we'll do lots of stuff, and and so I had to like eventually turn into you. So I guess tonight is about just trying to find out how close to you I've actually become.
Well, I gotta be honest. I'm glad that there's somebody else there to like hold Ali's hand and like do all the shit that he can't be arsed doing. Like,
Exactly. He saw me like organizing gigs. He's like, "Wow, you actually organize gigs. I don't have to do this shit. You see, Grant used to do this.
Can I go chat show host for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
I just want to say, welcome to the second episode of Potluck. Grant, Faraz, Grant. Faraz, could you introduce yourself for the sake of the punters at home?
Yeah, I play with Ali in the park. Lock End Park is like the beacon of Leith's experimental music scene at the moment. Grant, you'll be very well aware of that. We're trying not to be elitist about this kind of stuff, right? Ali, this is the music
I'd
of the
hope
people
so.
that we're doing in the
Well,
park.
there's a concern for me that we could be gentrifying Loch End Park by playing free improv in it.
yeah, I was just about to say. I think there's only so elitist you can be in Lock End Park. Like, you know what I mean?
Nobody bothers us. Nobody shouts at us. But I still feel if somebody turned up and did yoga at Loch End Park, I think they might still get battered.
Yeah.
But
To be fair,
nobody's bothered by
no
us,
one's
like.
coming to speak to you two in the park in Loch End.
No, they sometimes listen to us.
A guy came quite close with his dog one day, and the dog shat quite close to us, and the guy did me pick it up.
That's a well-trained dog, like.
And who's this guy? Grant Smith. Introduce yourself.
I played with Ali for a long time, put on shows and stuff like that in Edinburgh. Played in some bands that people might have heard of called Muscle Tusk and stuff.
Woo!
No longer live in Edinburgh.
Where'd you live, Grant? Where'd you live?
I live in Germany, live in Berlin. And I don't know, not so much parks with experimental music going on here for me at the moment. Like,
Surely there are parks with experimental music going on them in Berlin. I'd expect there to
probably.
be more of them than there are here, right?
Yeah, probably. I just wouldn't know. I think the closest I've come to that was one time I was out with partner Tina on a bike, and we were in Volkspark Friedrichshain, and we cycled up the top of this hill, and it was like a mad wee windy path to get up the top. And then there was just like a guy lying like half naked with another dude playing like a zither thing on his chest while they were like playing drones and doing some sort of like new agey like healing music thing.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant they were JKs.
Well,
I
maybe.
think they were like,
Yeah.
maybe they were. I think again.
But what are the restrictions in Berlin at the moment?
Um, I don't again, to be honest with you, because like they keep sort of subtly shifting like every now and again, and I think there's now like some sort of curfew between 9 in the evening and 5 in the morning. You're not really meant to go out and meet anybody you didn't live with. But other than that, pretty much everything's like restaurants and bars and shit's closed. And if you want to go to a shop, you've got to like book an appointment or something like that. Like.
Well, one of the things that I was going to ask you about is that in lockdown, both of you have been our food gurus as well. So you have been you've been Ali's bread sensei.
Yep.
Which, like, the bread is like, this weekend he's made 2 amazing loaves. And then we have Firaz, who has also helped us in lockdown with the roast cauliflower, the Lebanese roast cauliflower with his tahini sauces. So I wondered, like, if there was, I was thinking about lockdown, and I'm so sick of hearing about people being or doing new hobbies. But actually, we've been although the bread was slightly before lockdown.
Yeah. Grant, I'd like you to testify for the TUSK TV audience that I started my sourdough before there was a pandemic, eh?
Aye, way before it was cool, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But basically, I was just really wanting to ask about new recipes.
Though that I don't know what your roast cauliflower is, but we do a nice roast cauliflower with like a green tahini.
Ooh.
So like making a tahina with loads of coriander and parsley and stuff.
Seems a wee
But
bit.
I don't know. I'm always trying to do stuff like Mohamara and stuff like that. You know that stuff.
Let's pop.
Oh.
I bet you Faraz knows what I'm talking about.
We'll
but-
just
yeah.
get
Yeah.
Actually, Grant, my mother is from Aleppo, so I'm from the birthplace of Muhammad. Well,
Ah,
my mother's from
amazing.
the birthplace.
Oh, it's so.
Because I'm half Lebanese, half Syrian. And I've got the real stash. Like, I mean, we have down in Leith, we've got like a Turkish shop that's got the actual
Grant Smith knows it.
Grant knows all about it.
pepper paste, which is a beautiful thing. But on top of that, to Ali's big envy is I've got pomegranate molasses from a monastery in my village in Lebanon, which is to die for.
Beautiful.
So yeah,
Yeah,
so it kind of it gives me like an edge, you know.
Okay. It's the best food going, I reckon. All of that shit. Fucking, Levant, East Mediterranean and that, like, so yeah. It's like a never ending source of inspiration. Like,
So I also wanted to ask about, like, I don't know, in regards to like live music, how you feel about that kind of like we've had now. What are we on? Are we now 13 months in?
Nearly.
How much you miss that?
Absolutely insane. Like I'm like sitting watching documentaries about like fucking The Doors and fucking like Whitney Houston and shit I don't even care about because I've not been at a gig for like fucking 10 years or something. Like, like
we had actually Grant in the summer, so this was when we could actually go into the park like more than one adult. So immediately we were like, okay, we need to have a gig, right? So we got in touch with all of our friends, and then literally the only people who turned up on that day was me and my family, Ali and Colette, and Armin, who I know that you know Armin. Armin like turned up. I mean, we were sitting, you know, that lock at the bottom of Arthur's seat,
right, like with the
and
swans
Armin,
Yeah.
where the swans
Yeah.
are. Yeah, so we kind of sit kicking about over there, and then Armin like is like, so where are you guys? We're like, well, we're kind of like underneath Arthur's seat. There's like this little lock. He's like, no, because he's like, I'll walk up, and this guy is like coming from Stirling with his double bass on his
back.
And it's quite miraculous. I mean, Armin just arrived there in the middle of the field. I don't know how he arrived with massive double bass, and we're like, I mean, the level of commitment, you know, is just like he just knocked it out of the park. And then we had a wonderful picnic together, which is actually recorded and it's out on Beartown Records. So and it was beautiful because like we thought we were gonna play me, Ali, and Armin, and then everybody joined in, and my kids completely dominated the thing. And I have a daughter who's quite dominating as a character, so she kind of completely took over, and we just became the backing band really quickly. But the album is really lovely. If you don't have it, we should pass it to you. It's absolutely,
you know your place when Inanna's around.
Yeah,
that is nowhere near the front.
My favourite bit on that is when Inanna shouts, "Band, stop! We need to talk."
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny, like, thinking about how I know you guys, you know, obviously I've known Grant for kicking the pants off 20 years, I'd say.
Yeah.
But then I only actually met Firaz just months before we went into our first lockdown. So I've actually known Firaz in lockdown longer than not. Firaz is, yeah, kind of occupying the space in my life.
Didn't they take you that fucking long, did you?
You've been gone a couple of years, man, you know. I wasn't just a rebound guy. I waited to find the right partner.
I think this should definitely be in there.
Last indigenous Lether when he left.
Grant also was a Hibs ball boy, so you know, that's additional brownie points at all times.
Firaz's son
loves the Hibs.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. I'm wearing green tonight, Grant. It's not. It has nothing to do with football, but.
Well, you're Howie. If you say anything different, Fraz, there could be problems. And you run now. I could not compute this, Grant.
Like, the best thing about running is like when you arrive back in the house and you can just sit down again.
I've got a question about running.
Okay.
What are you running for? Like, I see you all bombing about, sweating. Do you think you could outrun a COVID? Like, if somebody sneezed?
I've done a couple of times, like, definitely.
Yeah. You used to do a bit of running, did you know, Firaz? I've seen you out in your sporty gear. Or
No,
maybe you're on a bike. Yeah.
No, like, I play basketball and I do all various. I love walking, but
lycra.
Running is. Yeah, lycra. I do lycra because I like to get all the gear, right. So I wear the lycra and I look like this guy who's this pro cyclist.
But you're
and
not
I'm really
actually
crap,
doing anything.
That is a track from November of 2019, and in October 2019 a revolution had started in Lebanon, and so I played for 18 hours straight. I played this one gig in my house for 18 hours straight, and that recording is actually from that one gig that I played for 18 hours. So yeah, so that's some context to that recording that we kind of got mashed up on. For a very long time. I'm like, I'm gonna put something, and I didn't know it was gonna be you, Grant, but I thought I'm gonna put something with like loads of space, you know, that would allow you to kind of, because like we're doing a duo in proxy, and you know, in a duo you don't really play like you do in a solo. But I was conscious that this piece was like, it could stand as like a solo piece, but it wasn't really a solo. It's my whole freaking family in this piece, and I don't know which bit of this piece is actually me and which piece is my kids. So it's all kind of jumbled up. But at least I felt, and that's what I liked with the kind of interplay that we were having, is that like my piece was kind of like a sustained, you know, sound that was kind of going through, and you know, and you were doing a lot kind of. You were able to kind of dip in and out and do your thing like around it, which I think worked quite good.
How did you do yours, Grant? What was your, like, did you just do yours at home like recently, or?
Yeah, man, it was like, I don't know, like talking about having like your room with like all your stuff there and stuff, but like likewise, like I can't be fucking bothered.
Look,
Like,
Grant,
it's like,
it's all here. It's all here. I
yeah.
can't touch it.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like there's something about having like too much time on my hands just means I never get round to actually doing anything. And like, I don't really like doing that much stuff by myself anyway. It's like, I think I kind of need like, the shame of like, not doing my bit in time and then like letting other people down. I need that shame to like actually like do stuff or whatever. So it's like, if somebody asks me like, hey, do you want to do a release, or like, oh, hey, do you want me to do a thing? I'm like, fuck yeah, I think it's fucking cool. Like, and then like I'll be like on it for like a week or something until it's done. But like, yeah, I don't know. That's like the first thing I've done in like a while. Like,
I know what you mean there. I don't think you need it. I think you could actually call that your process, though, Grant. You know. So Grant was my Giant Tank co-chairman until he departed Edinburgh, and I went back to doing it alone. And when I say went back to doing it alone, what I mean is
didn't do it.
I didn't do it.
Didn't do it. Didn't
But
do
now
anything.
I've met Firaz, and we're reviving the Giant Tank label.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have a release very soon, Ali. We're gonna have a release.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll be putting on shows again under the TF name, which is a name that Firaz introduced. Do you want to explain that name, please?
Tfeh is like a disgusting thing in Lebanese. It's like it's the sound of a spit. I don't know, what do you call it in English? Onomatopoeic, onomatopoeia,
Yeah,
something like that.
TF.
okay.
That sounds like, yeah, it sounds a bit like Michael Jackson's song, but yeah, that's
Hey, Grant's
that's
a big Jacko fan.
Fucking massive jacket.
I'm a big Michael Jackson fan. I love Michael Jackson.
Oh, man. He's the same person, I'm telling you. Same person.
We're doppelgangers.
Hey, tell me about Black Gloop on sourdough starters.
Well, what I was saying was like the one time I saw black on a starter was when I was making a loaf. I'd like cut off just like a tiny wee bit and put it in a jar as a probe to see how the fermentation's doing in a little jar, right? And then
That's-
one time I just left the jar with like a lid on tight, and I just like, fuck it. I just left it when I made the bread and stuff like that, whatever. And I just left it there and like watched it like going down over a process of days, and then kind of forgot about it. It sat in the corner of the kitchen, and then I noticed it was getting really dark on top, and I was just like, fuck it, let's see what happens here. Like, so I just left it and let it go for like maybe like 2 months or something like that, until there was just this like layer of like really dark, like almost like crude oil looking sort of shit on top of it. And then
yeah, I've got that now.
well, but then I got to the point where I was just like, right, okay, I need to open it and like smell it. And it was like the worst fucking thing that has ever hit my fucking nose, like ever.
Oh no.
That's fine.
No,
fine.
that's not fine. That's not fine. That's not good.
Grant, that's the one, right?
Grant, could you show yours, please?
Don't open that, man. Don't
No,
open that.
no.
This is the last of my pickled turnips.
Oh.
I saw these turnips in a field and I wanted to take a turnip, man. They were beautiful, big, large turnips. And my daughter wouldn't let me. Because she's like, you're stealing. I'm like, no, I'm just like borrowing from the land to make these beautiful things. She's like, she just kicked off, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna wait until tomorrow morning when my daughter's asleep, and I'm gonna go into this field. And I wake up the next morning, and there were these pickers that had already been in the field, and I'm like, oh man. So now, anytime I see turnips, I get overly excited, Grant.
So, you know, this is that kind of show. Are you guys going to improvise together again in the future, do you think?
I would love to, but I want to be physically in the same location as Grant.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like like I said, like, I need
That's a win.
Whenever you can, Grant, make your way over. Even though I've fully replaced you.
Of course, you've not
Whoa.
fully replaced him, Firaz, because somewhere in Edinburgh, there's Grant's
replaced him.
dear old ma missing him desperately.
Oh, you're gonna cook some of that funny food you're always eating, mate. Oh, olives. Olives, is it? I didn't care about that, son. Right.
Cuzregindo se era cușica fială tăprera cunda el honete fela culan sud eu să căștiela Cuzregindo se era cușica fială tăprera cunda el honete fela culan sud eu ha Nato male mele, la tepe, la tepe, la